The universe is giving you signs in this moment that you are being guided.
Gabrielle Bernstein, a role model for spiritual seekers.
If there's one thing that you remember about manifesting, if there's one thing that you remember, it's this. The universe works fast when you're having fun. And I had a really nice opportunity to teach that in real time very recently. So about 2 weeks ago, I'm sitting in my juice bar and I'm just having a little green juice and I look over at this girl and I'm like, girlfriend, your shoes are amazing. Meanwhile, I talk to everybody on the street like there's zero filter. I'm like an old Jewish yenta. I love your shoes, I love your bag. And so I'm looking at the girl, I'm like, your shoes are amazing. And then it turns out it was my favorite designer. It was like this big connection. She looks up at me and she goes, oh my God, you're Gabby Bernstein. I've read all your books. She said, oh, it would be so awesome if maybe we could get a coffee next week when you're back in town. And I said, you know what? Okay, let's get a coffee. You're my neighbor, we'll get a coffee. So we actually meet up outside my apartment and we're going to get a coffee and we're walking through my neighborhood and it's a beautiful afternoon and we're just chatting. And of course, she's with me. So she's like, this is her moment to have like a full real-time coaching session with me. So I'm like, okay, honey, let's go. Give me what you got. And she starts talking to me about how she's single and she's in her late 20s and she really wants to manifest her husband and she wants to have kids and she wants the man to be Jewish. And she just really feels so frustrated because there's no guys in New York and all the guys are unavailable and none of them are Jewish or they're not too tall or they're this or that. And she's going on and on and on about this issue she's having manifesting this relationship. And I look at her and I go, honey, you are young and alive. Like, let's have some fun. We need to have more fun, my love. And she's like, oh, okay. And I was like, listen, let's have some fun. So we start walking through the city. And of course, I go yenta on the whole city. And I'm like, I love your glasses, man. And I'm just like hugging people on the street. And about 2 blocks in, we walk into this couple. They just had their wedding. And they're taking their wedding photos in my neighborhood. It's a really nice neighborhood to take photos. So they're taking their wedding photos. And she's like, ugh, you see? And I go, girlfriend, this is your driftwood. This is your moment to recognize that you seeing somebody else standing here having their wedding photos taken in New York City is your driftwood. You are on your way to what you desire, baby. And then she's like, okay, that's my driftwood. 1 block later, another couple standing there getting their wedding photos. And so this time we're like, girlfriend, we love your dress. What's going on? How was the wedding? They were all into it. 1 block later, we walk into a third couple getting married and having their photos taken. And I look at her and it's like, you can't make this up, babe. You can't make this up. The universe is giving you signs in this moment that you are being guided. And so she started to feel better and she was starting to have some fun. And I said, okay, listen, let's go get a green juice. Let's go back to where we met. So we walk into the green juice shop, and in the shop is my friend Irene, who works there, and another woman who is a reader of mine, and then this young woman. And I said, you know what, guys? I want to give a motivational talk right now. And they're like, okay, like, we'll take it. So I set them up and I'm like, sit down, get your juice, have your coffee. And I start going in with my motivational talk. In walks this young man and another woman, young woman. And they walk in and I was like, listen, I know you're here for your green juice. Absolutely buy your juice, but you're also here for a motivational talk. And this is what we're doing right now. And the guy's like, okay. He's like, I like a motivational talk. Let's do it. So I line them up and I'm like, what do you guys want to attract into your life? And the man goes, I want a wife and kids. I start pinching my friend. And then he goes, and I want her to be Jewish. And so I'm like, she wants a husband and kids, and she wants the guy to be Jewish. He starts looking her up and down. And then he's like, can I get your number? They exchange phone numbers. They have the same birthday. They have friends in common, and they sign themselves up for a date the next day. So then he's standing there, and he's just chit-chatting with this girl, checking her out, and he goes, are we getting married? And I said, you know what? I'll definitely officiate the wedding if you guys get married. And the next day, she texted me. She's like, I'm on my way to my date. So the universe works fast when you're having fun. And I wanted to explain to her that had we not been in that joy, had we not been having the fun that we were having in that moment, he would have walked in with this other girl, who, by the way, was like his friend who had no interest in dating him, but we would have just assumed that's his girlfriend. And she would never have spoken to him, and she would never have gotten the date, and she would never have had the synchronicity of recognizing that the universe was indeed guiding her. And so it's in the moments when we're in joy and celebration and connection and just fun, just genuine fun. That's when the universe has our back. That's when we are being guided. That's when we are being led. That's when we are being opened up to possibilities beyond our logic and our reason. That is when we're manifesting, when we're having fun. And listen, I had this interview yesterday here in Australia, and I was sitting around a round table with some of the interviewers, and one of the guys was a comedian. He looks at me and he goes, "Do I just need a vision board and just to be happy all the time?" And I look at him and I go, No, you're not going to be happy all the time. No, just having a vision board isn't going to do it. No, just thinking it isn't going to make it happen. The real way we attract what we want is not by what we think or what we do, it's how we be. We don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. In the beingness, in the knowing, in the vibrational alignment with what it is that we desire, that is how we effortlessly manifest. We manifest what we believe. So here's the deal, guys. You all came here tonight, and my expectation is that you have a desire in your heart. And that desire is something you want. Yeah, everybody know what they want to attract into their life? Yeah, what do you want to attract into your life, people? Now let me ask you another question. What beliefs are blocking you from manifesting those desires? Shame, fear, unworthy judgment, lack of confidence? Yep, okay. How long have these parts of you, these beliefs, been around? Forever. We've had these beliefs and they've been around forever. And guess what? They're blocking your dreams. But these are beliefs that are very young. They're beliefs that we picked up. They're burdened beliefs. They're protection mechanisms. Am I right? Does that sound about right? And who are these protectors, these protection mechanisms protecting? They're protecting very young parts of us that have been burdened at a really young age. And so we have these parts of us inside that are acting in these ways that just seem so protective. And I was working on some stuff with my husband. Marriage is the perfect place to work on your self-help. And there's these parts of me that come out when he has a certain way that he speaks to me or something that he does. It's just like I get outraged or just these reactive behaviors. And he sent me this text message. I was waking up in the middle of the night. It was like 4:00 in the morning, and I get this text from America because I'm here in Australia. This text from my husband comes in, and in the text, it's this video. And the video was a video of my late mentor, Dr. Wayne Dyer. And in the video, Wayne is holding an orange. And he's talking to an audience, and he's saying, if I squeeze this orange, what's going to come out? And everybody's, orange juice is going to come out. And he said, no matter how hard I squeeze this orange, apple juice is not coming out of this orange. Only orange juice is coming out of this orange. And why is that? Why is orange juice coming out of this orange? Because that's what's inside it. And then he extends the metaphor to say, well, what if someone squeezes you? And depending on how they squeeze you, whether they have a bad tone of voice or they have an attitude or they're doing something that's unjust or they're triggering something inside of you, what comes out of you might be anger, it might be rage, it might be anxiety, it might be fear, it might be wanting to punch them, it might just be something that's so undesirable. And what you might do in that moment is say, oh, well, with their tone of voice that's making me act like this. Or it's because they're an asshole. Or they did this thing to me. And he said, no, it's not what they did that's making you act like this. What's coming out of you is what's inside of you. And so if you don't like what's inside of you, you have to change it. And so we all have these young, vulnerable parts of us, young little children inside of us that at a very young age experienced something difficult. We experienced trauma with a big T, trauma with a small T. Could have been somebody bullied you on the playground. It could have been that you had a very big trauma or a family member left or someone died or you experienced abuse and neglect or something that was awful. And at these young, very vulnerable stages in our life, we don't have the capacity to process those big emotions. And so without the loyal family member or caregiver to help us process it, or without our own ability to process this, what ends up happening is we begin protecting ourselves. From a very young age, we go right into protection mode. And so how do we protect ourselves? With beliefs of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I have to be a perfectionist in order to be seen, I need to be seen, the need to be seen, or I have to shut down, or in my case, I need to control everything to feel safe. If I'm not in control, I'm not safe. Are you familiar with these parts? Yeah. And so these parts are called protector parts. And then these protector parts pretty much just run the show. We live our lives just going from protector to protector to protector, right? So somebody does something or says something in a way that triggers you, and then you immediately feel activated, and then you go into this protection mechanism and you start acting out. And then later that night you say, oh my God, I don't know what came over me. A part of me took over. Has anyone said that before? Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Part of me took over. These are protection mechanisms, and at times when we are more triggered than other times, we become so blended with these protection mechanisms that we actually become them. We become the rager. We become the addict. We become the abuser. We become the controller. We become. I had a part that I called knives out. Like, if you mess with me, knives are out, people. Like, out. Watch out. So these parts are very active inside of us, and they're really just living all day long from these managerial positions of trying to just manage our big feelings and our emotions. And in these protection mechanisms, ultimately what's happening is we're blocking our self energy. We're blocking our highest self with a capital S. And self is our manifesting energy. Self is our super attractor energy. Self is compassion. It's calmness. It's clarity. It's courage. It's creativity, it's commitment and connectedness. These C qualities are self, your highest self, the truth of who you are. And in that energy of self, you don't need to prove anything. In that energy of self, you don't need to be the last voice in the room. In that energy of self, you don't have to be the one controlling everything. In the energy of self, you trust, you know, you allow. And in the presence of allowing, in that peace of allowing, you become a magnet for what you desire. And that self energy is always here. It never left you. It's just that we've built up these protection mechanisms that are blocks against the presence of that self. And there's this beautiful practitioner of the therapy that I'm teaching you about. It's called internal family systems therapy. It's what I've written about in my book, Self-Help. And in this therapy, there's a therapist who spoke about self, and he said that self is like the sun behind the clouds. And when the clouds begin to dissipate, the sun emerges naturally. And so we all have access to that self inside. We all have access to that self, but we've just been blocking it. So tonight I'm going to give you these practices, these 4 steps to check in with that part that's been blocking you, that part that feels so activated and aggravated and burdened. How many of you in this room have read my book, The Universe Has Your Back? Like everybody, yes. Nice job. Did you guys see that the new edition is out? Mm-hmm, yes. Now, how many of you have read Self-Help? Just the front row of the VIPs who are so hardcore. 5 people in the front row. Yeah. Okay, we got work to do. The real manifesting flex is in the pages of this book. But you know, it's alarming because it's big and it's red and it says self-help and you're like, that. But you forgot to read the subtitle. This is your chance to change your life. This is your chance to change your life. The method in this book is designed to help you befriend the parts of you that feel so burdened. It's designed to help you relieve yourself of the stronghold of these protection mechanisms and start to access that self-energy, that calmness, that compassion, that connection, that clarity, that courage that you so desire. And that self-energy is what manifests. So I'm going to give you an experience of this tonight. I'm going to give you an experience of this right now, actually. I'm going to take you through a little journey of connecting to self. You ready for it? And now, just a reminder, This is the key to manifesting. This work is the key to manifesting. You have a dream. That dream has a block. That block must be healed for that dream to be revealed. So I want you to think right now about that desire that you hold. And then I want you to take a moment to think about that belief that is in the way. The belief, the block that is in the way. And I want you to gently close your eyes and place your palms facing upward. Place one hand on your heart, and we're going to follow the steps. And I want you to just focus your attention inside. The first step, choosing to check in with that part of you, that protection mechanism. Maybe it's the controlling, maybe it's the need to be seen, maybe it's the fear. Turn your attention inward now and check in with the part. And now let's become a little curious. Breathing deeply and exhale completely. Where does that part live in your body? Where is it in your body? What do you notice inside? Are there any thoughts or feelings or sensations attached to it? Are there any images or stories connected to it? Is there anything it wants you to know right now? Just listen, just let it reveal whatever it wants to reveal to you in this moment. And take a deep breath in and connect to that part of yourself a little bit more deeply now. And let it go. And now with a little bit of that connection, let's send some compassion to that part. Asking inside, ask the part of you, what do you need? And just listen. Just listen. What do you need? And now take a deep breath in and extend that breath to this part now, extending that breath to the part. And let it go, just let it go. And notice any shifts inside you now. Notice the energy. Do you feel any compassion towards this part of you in this moment? Do you feel some clarity? Do you feel a shift in your energy? Do you feel compassion or courage come through? Just take another deep breath in and extend that love inside and all that compassion in your heart to this part. And on the exhale, let that go. Take another deep breath in and let it go. And when you're ready, open your eyes to the room. How do you feel now? How do you feel? Tell me. Lighter? Calmer? Do you feel curious, a little bit more curious about this part of yourself? Yeah, a little curiosity? Insightful. Nice. Considered. Do you feel compassion towards that part of you? Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel a little bit more courageous, like, maybe I can heal now? Do you feel a little bit of connection to that part? And clarity about that part? These C qualities, the clarity, the calm, the connection, the compassion, the courage, that's self, guys. That's self. And as you open up in these 4 steps, choose to check in, become curious, compassionately connect by asking, what do you need? And then checking for those C qualities of self. What happens is that just a few minutes together, we went from a pretty funky place of witnessing a part of us that's been active for all of our lives. And in a few moments, we were able to alchemize that energy and let self emerge. And self energy can help the younger parts inside. Self-help. If you like this video and you want to get more Gabby, check out the next one right over here.